Hello, beautiful damsels. To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. Ralph Waldo Emerson. Sigma females have not just embraced this truth, they've weaponized it. In a society that thrives on conformity and the shallow judgments of others, Sigma females have reached a point where they no longer give a damn about what anyone thinks. It's not indifference, it's liberation. They've realized that caring about the opinions of others is a trap, a subtle form of surrendering their power. What you're about to uncover is the raw, unapologetic truth behind why these women have decided to walk their own path, leaving behind the noise, the critics, and the societal expectations that once tried to define them. Number 1. People don't think, they believe what they're told. Most people don't really think, they just absorb whatever they're told, like sponges soaking up whatever water is around. Sigma females have picked up on this, and it's one of the reasons they've stopped caring about what others think. They see through the shallow surface of opinions that are nothing more than recycled ideas, passed down from one person to the next without a second of real contemplation. It's like everyone's walking around with prepackaged thoughts straight off the conveyor belt of societal norms. Now, when you realize that the majority of opinions out there are just regurgitated sound bites, it becomes pretty hard to take them seriously. It's as if someone handed out scripts to the masses and people just recite their lines without ever questioning the scriptwriter. Sigma females, however, aren't interested in playing a part in someone else's script. They're the type to write their own lines, and if that means stepping out of the chorus, so be it. Why waste energy worrying about the opinions of those who've never bothered to question where their beliefs came from? For Sigma females, it's like getting fashion advice from someone wearing last season's trends. They're just not interested. And let's be honest, trying to please everyone who parrots the same tired ideas is like playing a never-ending game of whack-a-mole. Just when you think you've got one opinion handled, another pops up, just as unoriginal as the last. Sigma females have better things to do than chase after the approval of people who've never taken the time to think for themselves. So, they've opted out of the game entirely. Instead of getting caught up in the whirlpool of borrowed thoughts, they stand firm, unbothered, and unapologetically themselves. After all, why care about what's essentially an echo? Number 2, they refuse to be anyone but themselves. Sigma females aren't in the business of putting on a show for anyone. They don't see the point in pretending to be someone they're not, just to fit into some arbitrary mold. While everyone else is busy trying to keep up with the latest trends or adjusting their personalities to match what's popular, Sigma females are content with being unapologetically themselves. It's not that they don't notice what's going on around them, they do, but they simply don't feel the need to change who they are to fit in. This isn't stubbornness, it's a deep understanding that true confidence comes from embracing your authentic self, flaws and all. They know that trying to be someone you're not is exhausting, like running a marathon in shoes that don't fit. Why put yourself through that kind of discomfort when you can just walk your own path in shoes that feel right? And the funny thing is, when you stop trying to be what everyone else expects, you suddenly become a lot more interesting. Sigma females know that being real is far more captivating than being a carbon copy of whatever's trending. They're like the rare vintage item in a world full of fast fashion, timeless, unique, and totally unconcerned with whether anyone else gets it. People might try to figure them out, label them, or fit them into a box, but good luck with that. Sigma females aren't interested in playing along with other people's expectations. They're too busy living life on their own terms, comfortable in their own skin, and completely indifferent to whether that makes others uncomfortable. After all, being true to yourself is the ultimate power move. Why settle for being a knockoff when you can be the original? Number 3, most opinions are as meaningless as background noise. Most people's opinions have about as much impact on a Sigma female's life as a feather landing on a mountain. It's not that they don't hear what others are saying, they just understand that most of it doesn't matter. Why should they lose sleep over thoughts and judgments that, in the grand scheme of things, don't affect their lives one bit? Sigma females have a sharp sense of perspective. And they've figured out that most opinions are like background chatter in a busy cafe. Present, but not worth tuning into. The truth is, people are always going to have something to say, whether you ask for it or not. But Sigma females have learned that the majority of these opinions are rooted in other people's insecurities, misunderstandings, or just plain boredom. They've realized that spending time worrying about what others think is like stressing over a comment section on the internet. It's endless, often pointless, and definitely not worth your time. What makes this even better is the freedom it gives them. When you stop caring about what the peanut gallery has to say, you suddenly have all this mental space to focus on what really matters: your own goals, your own happiness, and the things that actually bring value to your life. Sigma females understand that they are the ones in the driver's seat, and they're not about to hand over the wheel to someone else's fleeting opinion. Why let someone else's thoughts take up valuable real estate in your mind when you could be using that space to think, create, and grow? At the end of the day, most opinions are just that, opinions. They're not facts, they're not truths, and they certainly don't define who a Sigma female is. She's too busy living her life on her terms to get caught up in the whirlwind of other people's judgments. And honestly, that's the kind of focus and clarity we could all use a little more of. Number 4. People think Sigma females are arrogant until they get to know them. Sigma females often get tagged as arrogant simply because they're unapologetically confident. It's a classic case of people misinterpreting self-assurance as a form of arrogance. In reality, they're just comfortable with who they are and don't see any reason to dim their light to make others feel more comfortable. When you encounter a Sigma female, her confidence can come off as intimidating to those who rely on validation and approval from others. It's like she's carrying her own spotlight while everyone else is clinging to their dim flashlights, struggling to find their way. People might see this and assume she's acting all high and mighty, when really she's just embracing her true self without any pretense. It's kind of amusing how the same qualities that can make someone incredibly likable and inspiring are often misinterpreted. For instance, if she confidently shares her opinions or stands firm on her values, some might see that as a challenge to their own insecurities. Instead of appreciating her straightforwardness, they might label her as arrogant just because it's easier to critique than to introspect. But here's the twist. Once people get past their initial misjudgment and take the time to actually get to know a Sigma female, they often discover that her so-called arrogance was just a facade created by their own discomfort. In reality, she's as genuine as they come, and her confidence is simply a byproduct of knowing her own worth and not needing anyone's approval to feel complete. It's a bit like mistaking a diamond's brilliance for arrogance. Sometimes it's just about appreciating the shine without letting your own dullness cloud your vision. Number 5. They don't waste time on trivial matters. Sigma females don't waste time caring about things that aren't important, and it's one of their superpowers. While many people get tangled up in the trivial stuff, like who wore what on Instagram or the latest office gossip, Sigma females have a knack for cutting through the noise and focusing on what really matters. It's like they have an internal filter that screens out the nonsense and only lets in the things worth their energy. Take a look around, and you'll see people fretting over the smallest details. Did they get enough likes on their latest post, or did someone say something offhand about them? Sigma females, however, aren't interested in playing that game. They've figured out that obsessing over such trivialities is like rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic, meaningless and ultimately a waste of time. They're too busy dealing with the real stuff, their own goals, personal growth, and genuine connections. This doesn't mean they're oblivious to the little things. Rather, they've mastered the art of prioritizing. They know that focusing on things that don't add value to their lives is like eating junk food. It might seem tempting at the moment, but it's not nourishing in the long run. Instead, they invest their time and energy into pursuits that enrich their lives, whether that's pursuing a passion, deepening relationships, or simply enjoying their own company. It's not about being cold or detached. It's about having the wisdom to discern what's worth their time. And while others might get bogged down by superficial concerns, Sigma females move forward with a clear sense of purpose. So next time someone's caught up in the latest drama or obsessing over inconsequential details, remember, Sigma females are already onto bigger and better things, with their eyes firmly set on what truly counts. Number 6. Worrying about opinions is time wasted. Sigma females know that worrying about what others think is the ultimate time thief. It's like trying to chase a mirage in the desert, endless, exhausting, and ultimately futile. They've figured out that every minute spent stewing over someone else's opinion is a minute stolen from their own potential. If you're constantly preoccupied with how others perceive you, you're missing out on the chance to focus on things that actually matter. Think about it. Stressing over what someone might think is like trying to juggle flaming torches while walking a tightrope. It's a high-risk, low-reward activity that adds nothing to your life but unnecessary anxiety. Sigma females get that worrying is a surefire way to drain your energy without accomplishing anything. So they've decided to skip the mental gymnastics and focus on what they can actually control, their own actions and decisions. Instead of letting other people's opinions dictate their mood or choices, Sigma females invest their time in activities that foster growth and happiness. They know that life's too short to be bogged down by external judgments. It's like they've got a built-in GPS that directs them away from the dead ends of worry and toward the open highways of personal development and joy. And here's the kicker. By not wasting time on worry, they actually free up mental space for creativity, problem-solving, and enjoying life's pleasures. So while others are stuck in a loop of anxiety over social approval, Sigma females are busy charting their own course, living fully, and making the most out of every precious moment. It's a kind of freedom that's hard to beat, and it's one of the reasons why they navigate life with such ease and confidence. Number 7. They value authenticity over approval. Sigma females put a premium on authenticity, and they couldn't care less about chasing approval. While most people are busy playing the social game, fishing for likes and compliments, Sigma females are happily swimming in their own pond of self-worth. They understand that approval is as fleeting as a social media notification, here today, gone tomorrow. Authenticity, on the other hand, is a solid foundation that doesn't waver with the changing tides of public opinion. Imagine this. While others are scrambling for validation, Sigma females are like that calm, collected person at a crowded party who's perfectly content with their drink, their book, or simply their own thoughts. They don't need a crowd cheering them on to feel good about themselves. Their self-esteem isn't tethered to external validation. It's rooted in being true to who they are, no matter what anyone else thinks. This doesn't mean they don't care about others' opinions at all. They're just not going to let it dictate their lives. They value being genuine over putting on a show. So while everyone else is busy curating their personas to fit in or impress, Sigma females are doing their own thing, comfortably and confidently. They've figured out that living authentically is the best way to attract the right people and opportunities into their lives, rather than trying to fit into someone else's idea of what's acceptable. In essence, Sigma females have turned the quest for approval into a background hum rather than the main event. They know that being true to themselves is not only more satisfying, but also far more sustainable. And while everyone else is busy chasing shadows, they're basking in the genuine light of self-acceptance and personal fulfillment. Number 8. They've learned the freedom in not caring. Sigma females have mastered the art of not giving a damn about what others think, and it's liberating. This isn't some defensive mechanism or a byproduct of social detachment. It's a conscious choice that brings them a rare kind of freedom. They've realized that constantly seeking validation is like trying to catch a cloud with a butterfly net, slippery, elusive, and ultimately pointless. Instead, they've opted to live life on their own terms, which is not only refreshing but downright enviable. By letting go of the need for external approval, Sigma females unlock a level of authenticity that's as rare as a unicorn. They're not interested in fitting into someone else's idea of success or happiness. They've got their own metrics for what constitutes a fulfilling life, and those metrics don't include a tally of likes or a roll call of admirers. This freedom is like having a VIP pass to your own life, with no restrictions or dress code. While others might be stressing over who's watching or what's trending, Sigma females are too busy doing what genuinely interests them. They've figured out that when you stop worrying about what others think, you open up a whole new world of possibilities. It's not about being rebellious for the sake of it. It's about choosing a path that aligns with their own values and passions, regardless of what the crowd is doing. In the end, Sigma females know that true happiness doesn't come from conforming to expectations or pandering to popular opinion. It comes from the simple, exhilarating act of being true to yourself. And while that might sound like a cliché, for them, it's the real deal. They're living proof that when you ditch the need for external validation, you don't just survive, you thrive. In a world that often feels like a cacophony of opinions and expectations, Sigma females stand out as a beacon of self-assurance and authenticity. They've figured out the secret to genuine freedom. By discarding the need for external validation, they reclaim their time, energy, and happiness. They aren't just navigating life, they're defining it on their own terms. This radical self-acceptance and disregard for unwarranted opinions allow them to focus on what truly matters and thrive in their own unique way. In essence, Sigma females remind us that the most profound freedom comes from the courage to be unapologetically, irresistibly ourselves. Thanks, damsels, for tuning in. See you in the next vid. Bye and stay blessed.